Greetings everyone. Today we are going to be doing our first Dart project in Flutter. So stick with me, don't go anywhere. It's going to be quite interesting and interactive. So let's proceed. First thing we have to do is to go to the settings, click on it. We go to the command palette, we click on it. Next thing is the new project. Now we look for console application, we choose it. We're now asked to create a new folder. I prefer keeping it in my desktop. So we're working with mobile. New folder. I will name it practical _2. So whenever you want to give a space, use underscore. And you can achieve that by holding Shift minus. Okay, we select the practical 2 folder. Now we name it practical _2. Remember, underscore is Shift the minus key. Enter. We allow it to create our Dart project. Yes, I trust the application. We'll give it some time. Now my application is created. I'll go to the bin folder and I select my file. Some people are going to have error because they did not connect to the internet. So if that is your case, all you have to do is simply go to the terminal. Let's put for the terminal to load. Okay. And type flutter pub get. Allow it to run. Now our project is created. I don't need this, I will remove it. I will quickly remove this. I like keeping it clean. Now, let's run our first project. I'm going to create an integer year equals to 2023. Then I'll now close it. Semicolon is like the full stop in Dart programming. Always remember to save. Ctrl S. Now let's run it. Wow, I've run it, but I didn't print it out, so I couldn't see anything. Now let's print. So I wrote print, double quotation, and I have to put a $sign, yeah. And I'll go to the end and put my double quotation. I save it again, Ctrl S. Now you've seen 2023. Congratulations on our very first project. Now we're going to explain some very basic things in Flutter and for you to have an idea of how it works. I'm going to create this folder. I'm going to do presentation slide. Okay, here. Now I'm going to make some illustration and some analogy for us to really appreciate this. I'll take this. I'll draw the first one. This would be nice if it's white background. So I'll give it a very nice white background. Like this will be the first one. I'll copy. This will be the second one. This will be the third one. And this will be the fourth one. I'll make this one smaller. I'll keep it here. So we'll repeat for smaller ones. Put this at the top. So I want this something of this size. The third one. Last but not the least. So let's give this some spaces. Okay, the reason for this for us to understand how to place the different parts of a code. In that programming, there's something called the built-in types. In that programming, we have different built-in types. So I'm going to put a comment. In that programming, we have different types, starting with integer. It's written as int, but it's integer. Let me just integer written as int. We have boolean. We have double. We have string. So, and we have floats. So let's start with string. String is basically used to write letters, alphabets, or string can also be used to write places like town, events. So this is how it's written. You first of all write the data type, string. Let's use town equals to, because it's a string, this value must always be placed inside double quotes. Let's write occur. Okay, now let's go back to our analogy on the slide. The first one is called the data type. The second one is the data type name. The position here is called the assignment operator. And here we have the value. This was written so that we can compare both. It was written so that we can compare both. Okay, so let's not get distracted. We have string. This string will have to stand for this first position. Let me repeat this so that we can look for others. So just like we've written, at data type, if we start with string, the string name is down. The assignment operator we're giving it is equals to, and the value, remember, is a string, so it has to be inside double quotes. Okay, and we end it. What we did here is exactly what we did in our code. We have the string taking the first place, the first position, that's the data type. We have the data type name, which is the town. Then we have assignment operator, and lastly we have occur. And that's exactly what I was illustrating here. So the second we have written in our code is int. That's the data type. We have year. Then we give it an equals to sign, and we have the value. If you notice, the integer is used to represent whole numbers, things that can be counted. Something like year can be counted. Things that are not really decimal places, that doesn't have decimal places. You have year, we have you can count oranges, we can count people. So these things that can be quantified as a whole unit is being represented with integer. So let's go back to our code. So the first data type we've written is the integer. The next data type we're going to write is called double. We've written integer, we've written string, the next one is double. And double is basically used to represent things that we can measure. Normally have decimal places. So it does have decimal places. An example of things that we can measure are like height. You can measure height. Let's say 6.7. We're closing. Now, remember the exercise we did in our slide? I'll take you back to the slide. The type here is double. The type name is height. We give it an assignment operator, and we give it a value 6.7. Again, it is not inside double quote. It's only string that will place inside double quote. So let's go back to our code. So just like I said, doubles are things we can measure. You can measure height. You can also measure weight. You can measure weight. 17. We can measure area. And now it's important to always put decimal in double. And let's see what happens if we don't. We're going to print, put a dollar sign, then we write height. We save, Ctrl S. $6.7. Now we print the second one without decimal. Print the second one without decimal. 70. And let's see what happens. Sorry, we have to use the name weight. Yeah. Ctrl S. Let's see what happens. If we notice, we didn't put a decimal, but it has to put a decimal for us. Showing us the double always needs a decimal. Now let's do one more thing. Let's remove this dollar sign. and see what happens when we print. Control S, look at it. If you're seeing this, that means you've not saved your file. Control S, it's gone. You notice we saw height and weight because we removed the dollar sign. And let's put the dollar sign back. We save again. We run. The values are out. Having done double, the next data type we're going to be looking at is Boolean, written as bool. So bool is basically used to make a decision. It's used to make a decision, and has only two values. Which is true, two value, which is true or false. So back to our Boolean, and let's decide if it's going to rain or not. And we say it's raining. You say false, because at this location right now it's not raining. And I save. So let me print it out and see what we're going to get. My dollar sign. It's raining. I close the line. I save. Let's run it. You see, it's false, showing me that it is not really raining where I am at the location. Okay, having done the basic types, there are a lot more, but we'll just work with the basics. The next thing we're going to look at is mass operators. Mass operators. So mass operators are basically used to perform arithmetic on the numbers of variables we have. Basically, we're looking at the four basic mass operators, which is the addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. These are the four that we're going to be looking at. So let's create two variables. One thing I want to highlight here is to create a variable is a two-step process. The first step is declaring the variable. We declare. So declaring variable is simple as writing the data type and the data type name. So here the data type is int, and the data type name is A. So I'll still take you back to our slide. So declaring a variable, we're only working with these two, data type and the data type name. Now, assigning a variable, we work with the remaining two, the assignment operator and the value. So let's go and finish up. So declaring is the data type and the data type name. Now assigning a value to it, you have to add the assignment operator, which is equal to, and a value. We give it a value 10. Now we create the second variable b, which is equal to, let's make it 20. So now I want to create a variable called sum so that I can do addition of both of them. A plus B. Now let me print. Put my dollar sign. Sum. Let's run it. So 20 plus 10 gives us 30. That is for summation. Let's do for subtraction. Int subtraction. So we'll use the bigger one, B minus A. So let's print it out. Put double quotes, put a dollar sign, subtraction. We save, we run. 10, because 20 minus 10 is 10. The next we're going to do is multiplication or product. Multiplication or product. So we have int, let's call it product, equals to A, X there is B, A times B. We close. So now let's print it out and see what happens. Print, put a dollar sign, product. Run it. 200, yes, because 10 times 20 is 200. And let's do division. Because division is more likely to be a decimal place, we're going to work with double. Division is more likely to have a decimal, so that's why we have to work with double. Divide equals to B divided by A. So we go there, we print it. Divide. Now we're running. One last operator that I would like to bring to our notice is called the modulus operator, which is represented with percentage. So what this actually does is that it helps us work with numbers that are likely to have remainder. Okay, now if we are to divide 20, let me create the third integer. See, remainder. Let me call it remainder. Or divisor. Let me call it divisor. Divisor equals to 7. So if 7 divides 20, we are likely to have remainders. But 7 can go into two places. 7 times 2, 14. 7 times 3, 21. So, but 7 times 2 is 14. Left with 6. So let's see how this modulus operator works. Modulus. So I'll have to use double, or let me use integer, doesn't matter. So integer, because we're expecting a whole number. Integer, let me call it remainder. Okay, no problem. No problem. We're going to give it a value. Remainder will give it 7. Remainder. Okay, what happens here in remainder is that we want to divide b, which is 20, by the divisor. So b modulus divisor. We save. And let's print it. Remainder. Run it. Because 7 times 2, divisor is 7, 7 times 2 is 14. We are left with 20 minus 14 is 6. So the divisor gives us what is left, which is 6. So this is basically working with operators under integers, or under data types, sorry. So now the next thing, okay, this is basically it. Thank you, and let me save.